It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised.
Billions of people just living out their lives, oblivious. Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
Thank you, John Larson. I receive your kind words on behalf of all of our courageous members of the House of Representatives who want the best for the American people. And what we can do that is best for them in the next 24 hours is to pass affordable, accessible health care for all Americans. The best for all Americans is to have 32 million more people to have health insurance in our country. The best for...
Piece of stinking filth.
Shh, say it again, Shali. This is AJ of the InfoWars. Listen to the Shaliak. This is Alex Jones of InfoWars. Listen to Shaliak on the Cold Reality News and Report.
This is the coolest thing I have ever seen.
Well, hello there.
London Terror. Lasted 8 minutes. Pedestrians mode down on bridge, stabbings, 12 arrested, stating that this is for Allah. Throats cut, ISIS warned. Comes days before the general election. Trump urges to end political correctness. May slams internet companies for allowing terror ideology online. I wonder if the Ariana Grande concert will commence. Oh yeah, Wonder Woman to the rescue. $100 million opening weekend. Just in case, you're about the entertainment. The richest man, Jeff Bezos, on the brink of being that person. Is this the beginning of the summer of resistance around the world? Mummies in Lithuania reveal secrets of health and disease. City of Hate, 90-year-old man clobbered with a cane in Manhattan. Violent brawl erupts between group of parents outside high school. Bill Maher, hold on a second here. Bill Maher utters the N-word and is possibly, no, he's not going to get fired, but they're gonna bleep the N-word out. Because now the left is attacking the left. And of course, Kathy Griffin is mentally ill. I mean, this is an example of what mentally ill is, and that's Kathy Griffin. She crossed the line, she moved the line again, and then she crossed it again. And then she apologized. And then she couldn't handle one tweet of resistance to what she did. When apparently none of it was very malicious towards her, it seemed. It was just like, wow, the left. I think when the right addresses the left, they always just say the left has gone overboard. They've gone too far. That type of shit. That type of garbage. So let's see if I can. I'm gonna blast this out here. Don't want any effects on the voice. I think it messed things up last week. So yeah, more absolute. It just seems like London and the UK is just being decimated by the inhabitants there. And we know that there are levels here. Let me move this. Getting this hum, this crazy hum, huh? What the hell is that? Maybe the mic's just too hot. Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe the mic's too hot. So, I'm getting a lot of... I'm hearing a bunch of feedback here. Testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. Anyway, nothing's ever going to be perfect, but has this taken on a life of its own? Has the outward despise of a group of people caused this to happen? I mean, we've been, what is it, like 16 years now of just, this particular group of people did 9/11, even though, Saudi Arabia was, in the 28 pages. The 28 pages of documentation that shows that Saudi Arabia was complicit in 9/11, along with, Mossad and all these other ones that many in the Army War College have already spoken out about. And my guest today is going to be Chuck Ocelli, and we're going to try to break this down. We're going to try to analyze it. We're going to try to understand what the hell is happening in this insane asylum run by, Kathy Griffin and Bill Maher, who determine, people get their news and their geopolitical understanding from a hack like Bill Maher. I mean, that's pretty wild there. I mean, that's wild times. What are we doing here? Wild times. Yeah, I'm just getting this weird friggin' feedback here. Anyway. It's always something, right? It's always something there. Always something there. The mic. Yeah, the mic is picking up. Anyway. Welcome to Cold Reality Radio here on the UCY.TV Broadcasting Network. It is Sunday, June 4th on the East Coast of Night America. And everything, as I said, is just going completely fucking insane. Just irrationality across the board. Let me see if we can get Chuck in here and see what his thoughts are on this. Let's add to the call. All right, let's see what we got here. Chuck, we have you? No, still deciding what it wants to do. All these platforms. Chuck. Have you?
Yeah, you do.
All right. Okay. So let's see what we got here. Let me get some of these levels here. I just got some weird feedback that I've never even gotten before, so it's pretty weird. It's pretty weird, man. I got this feedback. I don't know where it's coming from. It's probably NSA, whatever. So good morning. How are you?
Good. Good morning. We are live, right? I mean, am I giving you strange feedback, weird noises today?
Nothing. It's just a. I know I've got this little fan going. Can't survive without my little fan here, and I need, It's weird. It's like I thought I was the only one that had to, like, even in the wintertime sometimes I need to have some kind of fan, some kind of air circulation. You know what I mean? And then I find out there's others that need this, that need a fan nearby. So I picked up instead of having the big fan, I have the little tabletop fan, and so that kind of does the job,
So you're the big fan of the fans of many sizes, and a lot of people are like that though. They can't sleep without the noise of a fan. They'd love to have one overhead and one blowing right in their face. I know people like this too. I mean, it's hot in the South though at the moment, so you gotta have something blowing.
Yeah, it's not even that hot here. It's just I need this. And it's just weird. I just need some kind of, and maybe I'm just running, like my body temperature just runs hot. That was verified by, who was that when I got acupuncture one time? Just in an, so some people just kind of run warmer than others. Other people obviously cold, for whatever reason, women in general because of iron depletion, things like that. But,
Yeah, I'm one of those weird animals that runs at about 97 degrees. That's my normal temperature.
All right, so you're cold. You don't need a fan.
No, that's the funny thing. It actually means that the heat kills me, man. I can't stand the heat.
Right. So it's 98.6 is our regular body temperature. I'm just going to say that for some reason I'm just and I'm a big guy, so I mean it just kind of makes sense, Or food allergies. I notice, like, whenever I eat certain foods, I will get, I will feel uncomfortable because, it's obviously whether it's wheat, because I do have a wheat sensitivity, not like other people that would eat like a piece of bread and like be in bed all week, But if my luck holds out, that'll probably change soon. But I've been trying to stay away from it anyway. So
you get a little older, these things change anyway, right? You get different sensitivities that emerge. It's pretty strange.
Yeah.
This whole getting old thing sucks, man.
And then you know what the fucked up thing is that I've had all this time to prepare for 40 something, and it's like I became very, very knowledgeable about food allergies. I became very aware of, the chemicals and the weaponized environment that we live in. Thanks, right. Thank you, AMA, ADA, and all these other organizations that are supposed to be there to, make us well. But at the top, just like anything, and everything's a pyramid at the top. Like nefarious shit going on, and then everybody else compartmentalized in there thinking, oh, this is my job. I work for Big Pharma and I do this. But we're going to be all over the road today, but I wouldn't, I always have to reach out to Big Pharma and try to tell people, like, hey, they're killing people. They're killing you with their chemicals, and you just take them. But cocaine's bad, heroin's bad. Like, I'm not a proponent of all those, but the street drugs are bad, but pharmaceuticals, for some reason, they're okay to take. Okay, so you had an announcement to make?
Well, first of all, I know that no problem. We can get right to it and get it out of the way so you and I can just chill out. Because here's the deal. I know that UCY replays some of my shows now, and I think it's Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3 to 5 here on UCY. And the deal is that I used to originate from American Freedom Radio, and I've tendered my resignation to them. Okay. So what I'm doing is originating from my own site, which is Ocelli.com. Other networks are apparently interested in carrying the live stream as well. So it'll be actually out there on multiple networks simultaneously. The live show plus the replay networks, which I really appreciate UCY being one of those. The thing is expanding, and it was time to part company with AFR. So that means those of you who do actually catch the show on here, you won't have to listen to the AFR commercials anymore. It'll be something else in there. I'm actually going to inject some music and stuff. I talked to Payday actually about getting me whitelisted with his company, with the company that produces his stuff. Mm-hmm. I think it's called CD Baby and all that. So hopefully I'll be playing some Payday Monsanto stuff, which I know you appreciate. I'll be playing some original music, some artists you never heard of, things like that. So that's the way it's going to go. Now, here's the fun part. I kind of designed a page over at at my website, sort of like what you guys have at UCY here, where you got a chat room, you got a listen live player, you got all those facilities, and it's not going to be a small thing either. It's going to go out through TuneIn, and Shoutcast is already set up. A bunch of things are already set up or on their way. So going to be a fully functioning freestanding platform. So nice. I wanted people to know about that because it's kind of a game changer for me.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it sounds awesome. It sounds like with change comes more exposure. And you've what I've always admired your style and what your approach to your podcasting and your live shows. All the people that you've interviewed, just numerous amounts of people that we all know, that we've all heard of. You have interviewed them, and I've always appreciated that about you. And now that we're going to have more about it, and you're with me here today, so that is awesome. So we have your listeners as well tuning in today. Me, I'm just Shali Lama. I'm Shalzo. I just kind of pick up the guitar, jam a little bit. Got to get that out of my system in the morning, and here we are. I've been here on UCY for I don't even know. So a lot of people put like numbers on their shows, right? I see like a lot of people like with structure. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like what is structure? Like numbers on their show. Yeah, we can go back to show number. I mean, like Clint did it. Show number 76, where Patrick and Clint spoke about yogurt and how much bullshit that it is. But it's like me. There's never been really any numbers or anything. It's just been a free for all, man. I can't count them anymore because what happens is, on a typical month, I'm putting out 20 shows, right? That's a normal number for me. And then there's other stuff I do, right? So, 20 shows a month. it started out on this network. Started out one day a week doing it live. I'd done a couple of podcasts before that, but it's I'm not counting them. I don't listen back. I can't refer you to them. Apparently, there are programs that do that. I'm just doing my best to continue to get the best information, the best people I can find. New ideas, old ideas that are still good. Information, resources, all these things I like to present to people, and I've really enjoyed it. And I'll tell you something, it's not a matter of counting it. I don't care about there's a lot of numbers. People ask me about numbers of this and numbers. It's not important. What's important is that it continues onward, and I love, first of all, coming on here with you, but also having you on my show has been an adventure every time. I never know what direction we're going in. And, you said we're going to be all over the road. Man, we don't need roads where we're going. We don't. Sorry. We just need the interworking highways of the human mind to take us into what's going on out there now. What we've got within a week or within 10 days, London just under attack from apparently Islam. But then we go back and we listen to the Freemason, that well-known Freemason, Albert something. There you go. There goes my facts. Albert Pike was his name, and said that the Third World War would be against or would involve Islam or Muslims, right? I mean, I'm paraphrasing that.
Well, yeah, but here's the fascinating thing. Just because the Third World War is going to involve Islam doesn't necessarily mean it's actually Islam.
Right. Exactly. Especially if somebody like over 100 years ago says it's going to involve Islam, it's like, are you going to have something to do with that, Mr. Pike? You know, are you and your organization going to have something to do with bringing that about? And it seems like they definitely have been sticking to the program.
Well, you know, look, they've stuck to the program in that they've actually created a legitimate reason why some of this stuff could be happening, logical, real-world reasons. But the strange thing to me is that with all of the things available, we have, knives and car accidents being utilized. And right there live on the BBC, because I was watching the coverage unfold, you know, when they were getting in the film and getting in the facts and they weren't sure how many were dead and so on and so forth. I'm watching that and they're going, you know, this guy's wearing a fake suicide vest. Why is that? And, you know, without skipping a beat, somebody else turns around and says, well, that's to deter people from responding quickly. You know, interesting that they have those answers in hand. Interesting that it is timed oh so well. You know, at a time when I'm getting reports from people in the UK, like Mark Windows, who I have on my show all the time. Interesting guy if you've never heard of him. He does a website called windowsontheworld.net, and he's a fascinating dude for more than one reason. Also a musician, so you know I got a soft spot in my heart for him. But the thing is, he was talking about the amping up of the police state after the last incident near London Bridge. You know, and he was saying that on the streets we're already seeing this happen, and there's going to be another justification for it that's going to come up. And in fact, on my show maybe 3 weeks ago, he was saying, you know, probably what's going to happen here is a coordinated attack that they're going to, you know, blame on ISIS one way or another. And, you know, of course, nobody takes note of the fact that you remember that rock concert thing that happened and a couple of the other things that have gone on this week.
I mean,
notice that
I was going back thinking of like, when was the last time? Oh, was that France, you know, bombing thing?
Oh, no, but there was the rock concert in England, right? Mm-hmm. I'm loosely using the word rock, but the concert in England from this, you know, allegedly American pop star who I don't even know who the hell she is. But anyway, the point to the story is this. When that went down, notice that the powers that be here immediately said, and I do mean number 45, Agent Orange there in the White House, you know, immediately said, look, this is ISIS. These are, you know, the losers. He had that narrative in hand twice before even, you know, ISIS's pub PR relations mechanisms had even begun to quiver. He had that stuff already in hand. He had that narrative already going. Hey, Frankie. There's Frankie. He had that narrative in hand long before ISIS even put out their statement claiming responsibility, which I thought was funny. Nobody takes notice of that. Nobody takes notice of the fact that it's so low tech, it's not even funny. And hey, look, we don't question it because it's acceptable to believe that that Islam is possibly at our throats. It's not acceptable to believe that, you know, the creators of the birth and death registry, I do mean the Vatican, it's not acceptable to believe that the criminal state of Israel is ever involved in something dirty. Oh, wait a minute, maybe it is. I'm getting confused now. Okay, because a lot of people want to call out false flags when, you know, there's just a mild suspicion, but when they do these things right in front of you, you don't call it out as a false flag because after all, you've already been propagandized to believe that all of these people are at our throats ready to go. If that is the case, I wonder, Shali, why it is we don't see Malaysia making such a huge advance against Christians. I wonder why it is we don't see the butchering of Christians really wholesale, you know, in places like Malaysia or in the bordering nations, because Malaysia, after all, is completely controlled by Islamic people. Also, you know, Iran doesn't seem to have these problems, even though they're the great demon. But wait, that's right. It's okay to have them as opposition because they work very well as a boogeyman for that criminal state of Israel again.
Sure.
I should leave these things out of the equation, right? Because they don't fit the Islamo-fascist narrative that is supposed to be coming for us all. It is an interesting piece of political and propaganda theater that we're watching unfold.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say that there aren't people that are unhinged that turn around and do things.
Right.
There's plenty. Stabbing people in a restaurant. I mean, Shali, seriously, stabbing people in a restaurant?
Right.
Does
why
that
ruin your life? Why would you ruin your life to do something like that and and be killed on the spot to, I don't know, to emphasize something? They want to make everyone believe that this ideology will make Muslims just go insane. We've got insane Christians, okay? We got insane Catholics. We've got insane people of the Jewish faith that a lot of their ancient books, their Talmud says incredibly hurtful things. They talk about the Quran, right? Which I've never read any of them, thankfully, because if I ever read the Talmud, I would be killed, right? Because that's what's supposed to happen. If you read the Talmud, you're put to death because you have too much information, I guess. So we've got all this going on, and they just want everyone to think that people just go fucking crazy for no reason whatsoever. See, and that's one of these things that they push hardcore all the time. They just want people to think that people go crazy. So when they put that out there and people buy into it, then anybody you work with, anybody anybody on the highway, anybody here, anybody there can just go crazy and start killing people, right? It gives the state more power. It gives the authoritarian setup, which has obviously been here for a long time, just more power, like right away.
Well, it's the justification to move forward with a plan they already have in hand. I mean, look at what happened in Manila. Are you telling me that is an ISIS-inspired attack? As a matter of fact, that was the most glaring example of, this is terrorism. And then ISIS goes, we better claim responsibility for it because they're saying it's terrorism. Literally, look at the timeline of events. Meanwhile, this dude walked in, set himself on fire. I mean, he put bullets on a table, lit those on fire, so those things popped off. I mean, crazy stuff goes on, man. Individuals get pissed off at their girlfriends and drive off cliffs or drive through shopping malls. It does happen. Go ahead.
It's not the norm; it's the exception. I mean,
it is.
They want us to believe that people just going crazy is the norm. Terrorism, like they've said over there, like I've heard any number of people say, that we're just going to have to accept that there's going to be a terror attack like every week on, when the moon is full, or every 4 weeks when the moon is full. Just getting everybody ready for, the environment that they want us to live in. That's what they're doing. It's dog training for the environment that they want us to live in, so that they can control us even more so than they already do.
Well, right. And that's why it was interesting to me, like I said, and Mark's telling me that they are, really ramping up security. Of course, we heard them go to critical level and all that. Remember when we used to have the color system here? I don't think they use that anymore, do they? Anyway.
Change it.
All of that going on, it's really fascinating because even if you think that 9/11 was, according to the official narrative, all right, let's just imagine for a moment you're that stupid, Shali, just for a second.
Sure.
So you're that stupid. Over the past 20 years, okay, which will include the 9/11 thing, which will include other things that have gone on. Over the past 20 years, if you compare the amount of people that have been killed by drunk drivers versus terrorists in the United States, well, what number do you think is larger?
Well, it's definitely drunk drivers killing, there's the terror people, a doctor's going to kill you faster than terrorism. A driving is going to kill you faster, or being hit by, or going out driving. Terrorism is a tool of the state. When you look at the casualties from it, obviously you go back to 9/11 and the 3,000 there. Never mind, everyone who's questioned it, who's those unpatriotic people that question the official story, when 60% of the 9/11 commission said nothing's really adding up. Maybe we should have another investigation. And they're like, no, that'll do. It's just there. It's just window dressing for the public so that we can make it look like we assigned people to investigate this, right? When they really, most of the time, they're just investigating themselves. But yeah, true.
Well, I hate to mention this about investigations again. I hate to bring this up about investigations again, but I'm sorry, it's a glaring example. The John F. Kennedy assassination was investigated by the Warren Commission in 1964. Okay. We didn't accept those answers. We had a reinvestigation by Congress in the 1970s, which concluded with the idea that not only had John F. Kennedy, but also Martin Luther King Jr. had both likely died as a result of conspiracies. Both of them, on the record, officially stated this, the House Select Committee on Assassinations, with a recommendation, here's the thing nobody talks about, with a recommendation that a further investigation be conducted. Shali, that investigation ended in 1979. Can you tell me, has there been an investigation since?
No, not really. They just, didn't they say something like in 2040 or 20 something, then these records would be available to people, and then the truth would be known, right? Something like that.
In 2029, it was supposed to be. Now, Oliver Stone released a film which put out a slide explaining that, and really that was about the House Select Committee's records being released. They've since been released, most of them, except we do have a little bit of a holdback this year in 2017, unless blocked by the executive branch. There'll be another document dump. But do you think, again, we've had another investigation? See, document dumps are not investigations, Shali, are they?
Not at all.
No. So, who knows when the 9/11 Commission's documents will begin, I don't know, dripping out there just a little bit at a time. And look, we're already more than half a century beyond the time when John F. Kennedy was publicly executed in Dealey Plaza. So, tell me again how it is we're going to get at the truth by asking the government to give it to us. And it's not going to happen, okay?
And that's the thing. And that's why, when we look at this and we think that things work the way that they tell us that things work. They think that investigations and court cases and all this other stuff works the way that they told us over the years that it works. And it doesn't work that way. This is their legal system. They have created a legal system that allows them to commit whatever. And you know what? To them, these aren't, what they're doing are not crimes. When we refer to Clinton, his information, he said, this is their creation. This whole thing, the United States of America, is their creation. So that's why everything just doesn't make sense. And when it doesn't make sense, then you know that there's just something so fantastical going on that, that we may never know.
But Shali, it doesn't really matter because Bill Maher said house nigga. So, it's all irrelevant now. And besides that, these are losers. So, we need to deal with the losers and let other losers talk like Hillary, who's still out there under the delusion that it was other people that cost her an election outside of her. The fact that she was an inhuman looking, anthropomorphized piece of stone that couldn't even bother to utilize her own grandchildren for, political imagery, because that would have been, maybe semi-human of her. That's got nothing to do with it. They totally handed this over to somebody that fools believed was an outsider. And then they still want to talk about Russia. Now, I find the Russia thing really fascinating, don't you?
I do find it fascinating because, in the past, you've got Henry Kissinger, who's had back channels to Russia. Like every president has some level of back channel and communication with with Russia. There's an article over Blacklisted News, the Kissinger back channel to Moscow, and it kind of breaks down how he as Secretary of State communicated with all of these different individuals in Russia, and the FBI knew about it, and all these other organizations. But it just goes to show there's two different Americas, two or three different Americas, just like there's probably three different FBIs. There's four different CIAs. The ones that they make it look like they're investigating something, and then when they get close to finding someone, or like, oh, there's bin Laden, then somebody else comes in and says, oh, we'll handle it from here. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
see, that's the beauty part of it, right? That's the beauty part of it, as far as I'm concerned, because look, everybody who's on the side of, and believe me, I am no fan of either side of this political equation, but the fools who think that, Hillary was robbed and we'd be better off with that, it would have been, a little more congenial in public, probably. It would have been a little less entertaining, Shali, but we'd still be dealing with the kleptocracy. It wouldn't have changed.
Exactly.
It might not be as, sorry.
Look at Trump going over and giving Saudi Arabia like $110 billion.
Of course.
$110 billion. Did he not say that he was aware of the 28 pages? Someone, maybe it was fucking Melonhead Jones, but who just consistently is covering for Trump and everything that he's done. Like everybody over there at InfoWars just continually covers for what Trump has done. Now, granted, the economy comes back. Did he have something to do with that, or is the rigged system bringing the economy back to make, just to kind of level things out? Like as the pendulum has like swung predominantly left for Barack Obama, and the economy not really doing anything. And then as soon as Trump gets in within the first month, all of these fantastical economic numbers and just all this stuff. It's not a coincidence. I don't think it's anything that Trump is doing, honestly. Maybe it is a little bit, but when we look at the grand scheme of things, he's over there. He's hanging out with Saudi Arabia, who is deeply in bed and up Israel's ass, as they are Saudi Arabia. Okay, all these countries. Saudi Arabia trained these jihadis, right? I mean, we've heard that over and over again. We've heard that the jihadis that are over in Syria, this proxy war that's being fought over there by these moderate rebels, which are basically Al-Qaeda, which are basically, honest to God, they are of the same ilk that we were told attacked us on 9/11. And now
of course,
are giving them money and power and all kinds of stuff over there so that they'll get rid of Bashar al-Assad over there. And then obviously the greater Israeli, the Oded Yanan's greater Israeli or Israel project or plan has been well underway for years. Christ, we even had what's his name, the general's son, guy who was the son of one of the first. I mean, there was a number of generals there, but Madi Peled, right, was the general. And his son, I forget what his name is, but he wrote, and he goes around. You can find him on YouTube, and he will sit there and he will tell you that in 1948, when they established the state there, when they divvied up, when they gave the smaller group of people the larger part of the land, and they gave the bigger the people, the more populous group, they gave them the smaller amount of land, which has shrunk even further over the years. And this isn't like, tune in today for Jewish or anti-Israel. These are facts. These are people that have come out of course, the self-hate. He's probably a self-hating Jew. That's why, right? So Peled comes out and says, in 1948, we were not attacked when we got here. we went on the offensive. The 6-Day War, that was another manipulation. We went on the offensive, and it was cleansing. It was they were cleansing the entire region while telling the rest of the world, and this was the UN, and this was so many other organizations saying, hey, they were attacked. And then, of course, that's why today we hear that we have the right to defend ourselves when they are the ones. In our world, it's opposite day. In our world, it's opposite day. And by that, I mean those that are oppressed and those that are sit there and say, we have been oppressed and murdered. And those are the organizations and the groups of people that are on the offensive, that are the ones that we should say, oh, look, but what do? We sit back and say, oh, they killed 6 million of them in the Holocaust. So, but of course, then we never hear about any of these other genocides that took place, where millions and millions of people were starved to death by Stalin and Western installed leaders from Wall Street and other banking families, the banking bloodlines that run and pretty much control most of planet or plane Earth, wherever you're coming from these days. But the bottom line here is that all that stuff was bullshit. It's just more of a land grab. The United States of America, which we were born in, lucky to be born in such a prosperous nation, which really, truly will never be again. It'll be the illusion of prosperity, like they were saying for 8 years that the economy was coming back and it never did. It's just bullshit. It's all complete and total bullshit. And Chuck and I are here pointing that stuff out. The victims are the aggressors, and the aggressors that we're told are actually the victims of the Crown Corporation. That's how it works. It happens no other way. We are the host. They are the parasite. It happens no other way.
Well, there you go. And the legal support for it is the Temple Crown Bar Association, which is your legal system. Welcome to it. And here we go. Your legal system. I do mean the legal system that is seemingly there for you to participate in, even though you are technically an imbecile. If you attempt to step forward and represent yourself, you're not allowed to do so, actually. I love that.
Yeah. It's a joke. It really is a joke. And then, but here's the thing. I mean, I've had people that I've worked with. I've had a Chinese man that I worked with for a number of years. Go-getter, made a lot of money. He owned properties. He came over here. He did something. He made something with his life for his family and everything. And because he was able to do that, this is the greatest place on earth because he couldn't do it there. It's a scheme. It's a setup. Like, you're not going to do this here, but you'll be able to do it in America. So they really did open up America for everyone. It is a melting pot, right? I mean, you could say that it is. Like, if somebody's in this country and they're working hard and they don't want to do anybody harm, right? And they have a lovely child or, whatever, they're married or whatever they want to fucking do in their life, as long as they're not hurting anybody, and then they're giving to the community or whatever, I don't give a fuck what you're doing. I don't care if you're here or not, right? But you got that H1, the visa program that they created to say, oh, we're going to do this. And it was actually so that they could get rid of jobs. And it was on 60 Minutes, where this guy who worked for a major corporation was, in order to get his cash when he left, right, to get his bonus or his benefit from leaving, he had to train somebody from another country to do his job, someone who was going to get paid half the amount that he made. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Look up a phrase called the American Replacement Act, I think it's called. There's literally stuff in motion today to do this even more. What's fascinating, though, is that this is not the thing that most people are focused on when they're worried about, we need to get, Trump's travel ban through and we need to stop these immigrants and this. Honestly, what keeps happening over and over again is every time there is a mass immigration into this country, they are feared. They are, pariahs in one way or another. Italians were not exactly popular when they came here. I know that seems strange, but they weren't. Neither were the Irish. Neither were the Chinese. Neither were, guess what? Just about everybody. You were not a popular person. You were demonized. You were seen as an invading horde, one way or another. And what's interesting is every single time they took people who had skills of some sort and worked them to death for slaves' wages, as is, good for corporate America. This is what is useful. Okay. A lot of these guys that I met along the way who were immigrants from different parts of the world who came over and did things like, literally it's going to sound so stereotypical, but who did things like, invest in, convenience stores, stuff like that. Those guys did not do it because, they were handed a whole bunch of cash, and they came over here and worked their tails off to create something because the opportunity was here. That's their perspective. But what they were useful for was pushing out the other people and making it cheaper for others to function. Okay, creating a cheap labor force again to be exploited.
A lot of these people,
and go ahead.
Yeah, Chuck. Right. That's part.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
That's part of the thing is when they come over here and they start a business, a convenience store, they are tax exempt for a number of years so that they can prosper. Their business can prosper. I'm pretty sure I heard that any number of times that they. Now I understand that they're working hard and all that other stuff. It's just these incentives that the government gives people that aren't, from here to a certain extent. They don't give the same to the people that are already here. It's almost like this. It's almost like, do you ever see those cable commercials where it's like they'll give this like awesome deal to you if you don't have their product, but if you do, fuck you, your bill's going up. You know what I'm saying? So like, your bill's going up.
That's what the deal is.
And get quadruple play. They just keep adding all these features, and then they get it for like 2 years for this price, and then ours goes up to pay for what they're not charging them, right? So it's isn't it great?
That's a wonderful example, actually.
There it goes. It doesn't take long to find a wonderful example. And I'm not the brightest bulb on the tree. It's just that's reality. That's what we see. That's what we know is happening. And how other people don't see that we're heading in we're being steered into the ice. The American Titanic is being steered into the ice, and when the shit really gets bad, it's going to capsize, and people are going to drown. They're going to drown in debt. They're going to, and that's the plan.
Well, and here's the other fun part is
right, Chuck. It doesn't look like that now. With apparently with Orange Crush in there, he's doing all these great things for America, and maybe he is. But they have to do that to make it look legitimate when it's illegitimate as the day is long. That makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense, and that's the funny part about this whole Russian thing, is that guess what? Look, they're investigating. They're going to sit there and feign an investigation. Nobody wants that scab really picked open, because if you follow the logic here, you're going to find out that everybody who gets into a position of power is privileged with the ability to sell us out to somebody else. One way or another, this is what happens. And why? Because you're forced to be part of those who are counted. You're part of that birth and death registry. You need your real ID in order to travel across state lines. You can't, well, you don't really own anything anyway, but hey, you can't even act like you own something unless you have all of your papers in order. It's a beautiful scam. And the funny thing to me is that people are still applauding. People are still believing that somehow the deck has not been stacked, that somehow the system is not rigged.
We're number one.
What's that?
Don't forget, we're number one. That's America. We're number one. We're number one.
When it comes to I don't know, urination, I suppose we could be number one. Well, infant mortality, the dropping rate of birth, all these wonderful things. The amount of individuals who are cognitively damaged, people that are chronically ill, that are dying continuously. And you know what? To speak to your pharmaceutical thing, I think people need to wrap their minds around the fact, and I do mean the fact, that more people have been killed in the past 200 years by big pharma than they have been by all of the wars combined. You understand that?
Yeah.
There are more individuals who have been destroyed by this, and meanwhile, this is not something that is out there as a hazard, something we need to consider. No. This is actually the thing that was at the top of Agent Orange's agenda, to go, hey, look, we need to give more breaks, take more regulations away from these people, make sure to do that. And meanwhile, there's some of that base that still thinks he's going to fight vaccines, that still thinks he's going to fight all kinds of stuff. They're celebrating the pullout from the Paris Accord, but what good is it really doing?
Yeah, because they even said that a lot of these governors and a lot of these people in the authorities in these different states are going to just follow those Paris Accord protocols anyway.
But
maybe
here's
that's a trick.
Here's the question that came right to my mind, is that there's something called the Geneva Convention, and we seem to selectively follow those protocols. I don't see why it's such a big issue to handle it, differently here when it comes to the Paris Accords. It was actually a strategically bad move, quite honestly, to withdraw as far as, the rest of the world is concerned. It's not going to turn out well. We could have easily stayed in it and talked out of both sides of our mouths like we always do. But he needed to placate the people that are waiting for him to accomplish something. So now this is a big accomplishment. It's interesting you bring up the economy changing, in the first part of 2017, because, hey, don't we always talk about how, initially when you see somebody come into office, they're really still riding on the good or bad things from the guy before? They certainly are, number one. Number two, our stock market is being propped up by like a handful of tech stocks that haven't collapsed. I mean, I've had multiple analysts explain this to me, and I go, well, that just doesn't seem logical. Okay. But they show me time and time again that this is exactly what the case is. So, welcome to the world of, if Apple puts out the wrong iPhone, the stock market's going to come tumbling down. It's just about that precarious of a perch that it's on. Okay.
Right. I mean,
meanwhile, hundreds of billions of dollars to Saudi Arabia, plenty of gifts for, Jared Kushner's bed buddy there over in Israel, plenty of gifts for the Pentagon to hand out to one jihadi group, while the CIA hands it out to another to perpetuate this nonsense in Syria that accomplishes nothing. 59 freaking cruise missiles that wind up putting holes in dirt where there was already holes, and an airport that functions the next day. Give me a break. All right. 100 pounds of silver in each one of those things. What, $1 million a piece, $500,000 a piece? I'm sure that money couldn't have possibly gone to fund Meals on Wheels, or, hey, maybe actually do something that would have improved the lives of the people here in America. No. We need to make our points on the world stage, whatever they may be. And at this point in time, it's all just as ridiculous as it would have been any other way. So, congratulations. We have the most entertaining puppet in the Oval Office, I think, in a century. And, the only thing missing now, actually, is a large domestic attack here in America to justify the entire rest of the agenda. So I'm wondering, and I never do this, I'm wondering when it's coming, Shali, because I'm figuring they need one right about now. What do you think?
An attack?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that something is something's definitely being conjured up. There's no doubt. We've had all of these little incidents, like the one down in Texas, There's been several. I can't put my finger on all of them, but we know that there's been, we had the Fort Hood thing. We've had all these just like little things to keep people in the game, to keep them mentally thinking that there's this threat, there's this Islamic threat. And I think that there is an Islamic threat, but it's like in the beginning of the program, I said, how much of this could be that people, like ordinary, everyday people, have just been sick and tired of being called a terrorist for the last 15 or 16 years since 9/11. I think that there's going to be you could say a grassroots type of people, right? And of course, what do they call them? Homegrown terrorists. There's always those people that for some reason, we hear those stories all the time that little Janie Jackson from Minneapolis just woke up one day and decided to join ISIS, And I'm like, what? Are you fucking kidding? All these like ridiculous fucking stories. And it just plays more into the thing that obviously it, and the thing that we have to understand that we're dealing with is we're dealing with people that don't care about human life at all. And their goal is to create a divide and conquer strategy. That's what this is. That's why blaming terror around the world on this, when we know who they also say that Iran's the sponsor of terrorism. Maybe they are. Maybe they do sponsor some terrorism. But it's there to counteract what the victims, the lifetime victims that we hear about all the time. The ones I said, the ones that the victims, the ones that have been oppressed, are the ones that are the aggressors and the oppressors. So it's coming. There's no doubt that it's coming. And is it going to be big? Is it going to be as big as 2001? Is it going to be Christ? I mean, I just read a story about how there were these chemicals that were put into a water supply, right? And they were just toxic chemicals that if people drank it or whatever, that they would just fucking drop, right? And then they were like, oh, God, I hope ISIS doesn't get in control. And so it was just like they were moving the story in the direction of what if somebody who really wanted to hurt us gets this? Well, guess what? That's probably already going to happen. And it's basically just setting the stage for something hideous like that to take place. And this is who we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. But again, I mean, I'm sitting here last night and I'm not going to lie to you. I'll sit there. I'll watch like on Saturday nights if I'm around. I'll watch that douchebag Greg Gutfeld on Fox, right? Because they do a lot of comedy type stuff, and they've got a number of different people on there. They goof on liberals and how retarded they are. But as I'm looking at them, I'm like, you're only a little bit smarter than these liberals, okay? Or you know exactly what you're doing, and you're playing your character to a T. So I watch these shows. So last night I'm like, I'm going to check that out. And then at 11, there's a show called Waters World where this guy named Waters is on there, and he goes around and he's like blowing Trump and all these other fucking people. But I find it to be entertaining because somehow it kind of keeps me in the loop, and I'm just kind of like sitting here watching something anyway. So forgive me out there for tuning into that, but I enjoy laughing and comedy and shit like that. I hope to make up my own at some point. But all I get is this attack over there. It was just like, okay, 10 o'clock. This is getting ready to start. I'm gonna kind of goof on this, there's a bunch of pretty people on there. So I'm like,
look, Fox is a great. Well, wait. Fox is a great entertainment company, man. You know why? Because they literally have the balls to put out something called War Stories with Oliver North. I'm waiting for the episode where he talks about the death squads and all of those Central and South American bodies that were never counted. That him and Negroponte and George H.W. Bush and everybody else happened to make sure happened so that cocaine could get into this country, flowing real well. I'm waiting on that story to hit Oliver North's War Stories, right? And maybe he could tell us about how David Petraeus this was even part of the Iran-Contra equation. Okay, how about we get to that truth? Or maybe, this guy James Steele, who they turned around and picked up and, used his death squad techniques in order to create the torture chambers in the Middle East later on. Maybe we could talk about all that connective tissue. You think they're going to display any of that? No. It's just cartoon figures, one sort or another. Whether it's, Bill O'Reilly, who's now going to do a podcast, or it's Sean Hannity, who's a fat-headed carbon copy of somebody else that probably died 10 years ago. I mean, look.
Right, exactly. What I'm saying is they're being weeded out, too. Obviously, Hannity's under attack for even talking about this, the DNC staffer. What's-his-face is gone. Riley's gone, like you said. Ailes dies, right? He died about 3-4 weeks ago. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on there. There's a lot of instability going on there on that network, and it's and not that I would cry a tear if it ever shut down, but you can see the system weeding out the any kind of church-related, Catholic, God, anything like that out of the system. And, of course, they do bring that. They do bring, Fox does bring the love of God and different things like that. They will say the Pope basically is full of shit when he starts talking about climate change. It's like, dude, stick to God and keep your ass out of fucking climate change, okay? You could obviously the whole agenda. They are the Crown. They are part of the Crown Corporation, so that makes complete sense that they would be involved in pushing, climate slavery, climate incarceration, if you will. So it's I don't give another 5 years and Fox News will be completely gone. They might be doing their podcast, right? The Glenn Beck special, but.
Yeah, how's the Blaze doing? I don't even know. Do they still exist? They were supposed to be going out of business.
Looks bad. Glenn Beck looks bad. Apparently, he's still sucking down diet soda like there's no tomorrow. Like they were telling him.
Well,
drank so much of it that I think I heard that it was fucking with his eyes. It was messing with it, and that's what it does. That I think it's ethyl or some kind of particular alcohol that's in it. When the body heats it up, it turns it into like basically a carcinogen. It starts causing a thing called metabolic acidosis. And so it starts fucking with, everything. Really starts messing with your whole body. But your eyes can generally start having an effect by it. And he looks. I'm telling you, he just doesn't look good. Like he's not well. He's not well mentally, and he's not well physically. So.
Right, and here's the deal. What you're talking about is the results of aspartame, because what happens is the body metabolizes it into a substance similar to wood alcohol, and later on down the line, which the body cannot metabolize out, it creates a substance very similar to, guess what, embalming fluid. And that type of substance running through your bloodstream is actually corrosive to the optic nerves. Lovely, isn't it? And what do they put aspartame in, Shali? Just about everything that's packaged anymore?
I think, Chuck, the trademark wore out on it. Now they have something like Neotame. They were getting ready to change the name, so it could be like a different name now. But aspartame, definitely equal, shit like that. There's even a McNeil Pharmaceutical, which is not that I could throw a rock and probably hit the side of the building, in this area. It's not that. But I used to actually work there as a consultant, as a computer consultant. They make the Tylenol there. That's where apparently that the cyanide thing happened back in the 80s, which apparently was another psyop from what I read. And of course, acetaminophen. Patrick Jordan points out that it is a chemical that they use to develop photographs.
Right. And what pray tell, Shali, do they mix into the majority of the distributed opiates that are given to people by a big pharma, prescribed by your doctor, legally permissible? What is one of the main ingredients that goes along with the opioid load in each of those pills? Oh, that's right, acetaminophen.
Really?
Yeah, look at the makeup of Percocet, all of the generics. I mean, and even the name brand. Take a look at it.
Right. Yeah.
Percocet and Vicodin.
Because I know that there's I know that there's a cocktail of death in everything that they put out now. Honestly, what was it? The fluoroquinolones, which are what Patrick calls the last, like, you would only use this if nothing else works, right? They call it levofloxacin or Levaquin. They're a family of antibiotics, and you know that there's something in there. And somebody I know took it, and it wasn't even just that, but it really kind of, apparently, I don't know what other damage it did, but it was able to kill the lung infection, the pneumonia. But I really truly believe that there was probably some kind of antidepressant in there as well. So I think what they do is they put a little bit of each of these, like, devastating fucking things, and we know that the antipsychotic, the antidepressant drugs are, people just do heinous, awful shit on them. Whenever there's a shooting, and you never see Big Pharma like, "Hi, we're Big Pharma, and we're mostly likely to blame for those 7 people that just were killed by that person on our product." But you never hear that. You never do. At the same time, you have to think, like, what is, like, when they steer you in a particular direction, when this alternative system steers you in a different direction, much like people get steered right into the Alex Jones, cave of the Alex Jones his Plato's cave. So you're in there.
The performance artist, formerly known as Alex Jones. You mean?
The performance artist, right? And what they do is they get you in there. They get you believing that the founders, and no, I'm not saying that all the founders didn't have, like, really a lot of good ideas about freedom and different things like that. There's no doubt. But if they're all related to one another, and they are also related to the European monarchy and their bloodlines, then what are we talking about? I used to sit there and be like, how could people sit there and call our founding fathers terrorists, right? So you'd have these government organizations, and there was a classic video that Jones would show where this guy would come into this organization. He said, well, and then you would hear him say, like, disparaging things about Jefferson or blah, 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 blah. And he said, they're calling these guys terrorists. Now, they might not have been terrorists, but they had a job to do while they were here, and it was grabbing the land. It was grabbing America and deciding. And, of course, we know it wasn't about slavery. We know that the Civil War was not about fucking slavery. But they had to make it about something, right? They had to push it over here, and that's what I mean by look at the direction that the system's trying to push you in and realize that you're still not over the target. Realize that you're still not over the target. It was really, truly, and Greg from New Jersey kind of pointed this out a number of times, that it was the control of the land so that people wouldn't move west, that they wouldn't move, to the western areas. It had a number, everything that they do, everything that is nefariously done has a number of tentacles to it. And it has, we're going to achieve this, we're going to achieve this, and we're going to achieve this. We're going to achieve some semblance of all 3 of our objectives. You follow what I'm saying? So you could get like 50% of one objective, 100% of another, but they still get where they're going. And then they say, okay, it's about slavery. It was about slavery, when it was in no way about slavery. It had a pinch of slavery, in the stew. But at the same time, it was really truly about the Union, right? And what was Abraham Lincoln saying in the quotes that you never fucking hear on TV or anywhere, really, unless you go look for it. If I could save the Union without freeing one slave, I would do it. So it's like, the fuck? What the fuck? It's about the union. And who's the union? The bloodlines, the monarchy, and the people that are still in power today. That's who Abraham Lincoln was. Honest Abe. Kiss my ass. These people were not the salt of the fucking earth in any way, shape, or form.
No, look, nobody ever was. And here's the thing. Every single one of these constructs, which they have told you to flock to, that are supposed to be the symbols of your freedom, whether it is a flag or it is a constitution or it is some other codification of ideals, is a multi-purpose thing and is usually just one element of the controlled demolition, okay, the truly controlled demolition of your ability to be a free individual. That's really what it is. It's all about piping us all into little groups, subdividing us so we can be sent to the different slaughterhouses for different purposes. That's what it's about. Yeah. Okay. And I can't, I'm always amazed at people that, they clutch onto certain documents. They clutch onto certain figures and believe it. There were figures who fought the system, but they're usually not recognized for the reasons that they were really fighting. They're usually not recognized properly because the truth has been absconded with by those that have continued to tell us the stories, by those that have continued to control sentimentality over substance. And that's the reality that we have to accept if we're going to even have a chance to go forward the way I see it. I don't know, man. What do you think?
Yeah, we totally have to accept how bad it is, how bad it's gotten. And I want to sound like Jones, but he says that too. We have to accept how bad things have gotten before we're going to turn things around. And honestly, as I said, I don't. You know what, Jones? Whatever he is, it makes more sense now than it ever did before that he is a member of these bloodline families. And he will be affected by whatever happens in this place, right? I mean, there's no doubt that he will be affected by what happens in this. Whatever happens to America will happen to Jones and his family.
Right.
Okay? So I think that he definitely has a agenda, which I think that he's trying to get everybody into. But at the same time, he has to lie to them. A certain portion of it has to be a lie, so that they don't find out that Obama is did he ever? He says Barry's a Tory. Did he ever say Barry Dunham? And that would link him to the Dunham family in Indiana and the founders, right? I mean, these things have been established, okay? Obama is of the posterity of the founders of the country, not necessarily the founders, but those who came here and said this land is going to be ours. So let's make it look good by getting all these documents together. Okay, let's start something here, and then we will move forward through it. All well knowing that it's at its core, it was a conspiracy to do so. It wasn't like, hey, I'm George Washington. Hey, what am I doing standing on in this land here? I'm going to be the first president. It's the same thing as fucking Bill Clinton walking around as governor of Arkansas, sexually molesting all of these women, popular women, and saying, I want to be the president one day. I'm going to be the president. My name's Bill. I'm going to be the president one day. Because they fucking obviously told him, listen, dude, just watch what. And then I think it went to his head, because he was just like, well, I'm going to be the president either way. So I'm just going to do all kinds of fucked up shit. I'm still going to be president. And you know what? If that's the way he was thinking, he's right, because he still became the president for 8 years. I'm sitting here watching Norm Macdonald. Have you ever watched Norm Macdonald?
Oh, I love Norm Macdonald. Yeah.
He's on YouTube. Check it. He's got like a new one, like a 2017 one, but he did a whole lot of the SNL news for a number of years. When the Clintons were in office, he did a lot of the OJ stuff, and it's hilarious. If you go in there, it'll be like Norm Macdonald just roasts, the Clintons, or he just trashes OJ Simpson and some of these other people. And you go in there and you're looking at, and he goes, "Oh, there's the president and the first bitch." He'll say like just awful shit, and then of course they'll implement the Whitewater thing, and that she was one of the number one suspects in the whole Whitewater thing, which most people that were trying to vote for her now weren't even aware that she was involved in another conspiracy to steal money and steal people's shit. So it's like, again, you have a lot of these young people that were voting for Hillary. They have no idea. Like Whitewater, what was that? Did somebody dump paper into a lake or something? Like people.
But all the criminal activity is forgotten, Shali. Come on. Look, every one of these people that's been in that post, that puppet post we call the President of the United States, for just about my entire lifetime, I can't think of something Jimmy Carter did that was blatantly like criminal. But I mean, everybody else I can think of was participating in criminal activity on one level or another, or had been a criminal in office before they got into office and should not have been legitimately there. All of them. I mean, when are we going to face that idea?
I did hear from that Coleman guy that wrote the 300. He was like MI5 or something, and he wrote the Council of 300 or something. He said in one of his dissertations that Carter had a number of mental breakdowns. So I always kind of like kept that into play. Like, wow, like did he really, was he really that mentally unstable? But today, if you listen to him, he's really one of the only ones that's speaking out against the occupation over there in Gaza and everything, right? I mean, basically calling Israel an apartheid state to their face, right? Being he would go to talk at places and he would be shunned by, some of these Zio organizations. So it's like, was he that awful? The right kills him all the time. A lot of people that I know, like people that in my close circles, love what he's doing with Habitat for Humanity and all these other different things. So you know what? Is he a good man? He said, I think one of the things he said was, the things that you do as president make you ineligible to really be president. So he basically, in that statement, said, they had me do some fucked up shit.
Yeah, well, and that's...
And he still lives with that today. He still lives with that because why? Because he got the empathy gene, I guess, right? Whereas some of these other ones are just, like Bill and Hillary, they're just, drinking baby blood and saying, isn't this great?
Well, see, by mistake, they might have let a human being get in there for 4 years, is what happened.
Yeah.
And look, it all comes down. And by the way, about Alex Jones real quick, I'm not as kind to him as you are, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I view him as exactly the Pied Piper type. What he's doing is allowing people with a suspicious mind to fall into the trap of bad information and bad sentimentality. And he's actually perfect.
I feel that way too. I mean, I've gone over this stuff over and over in my mind. It definitely, the impression that he made on me was a lasting one. There's no doubt about it. He just seemed like he would, but over time you see this stuff, and I do. I feel the same way that you do. I see the same things. You feel you have a heightened level of aggravation towards him, and I see it now. It just makes more sense. Like, I know who he is, and I see what he's doing, and I don't like it. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't like it, and ultimately he's doing it to save his own ass and to save the ass of his family. Right. I think that, again, whatever happens in America, whatever happens here, is going to affect him and his family.
Yeah, he may not be privileged to have a spot laid out for him at the bunker for him and his kids. I don't know, and I'm not going to speculate on it, but it's just a wholly disgusting thing to have watched, the entire alternative thinking movement sort of hijacked into this idea that, look, it's all a charade, but back this particular sock puppet because he's orange, and that's different, isn't it? I mean, really, that's about the level of logic here.
I see it now. It just disgusts me that, no matter what he does, he goes over there and it's like, okay, so he and this Roger Stone guy who have their finger on the pulse of what's really happened in the world or close to what's happened in the world, back to 9/11 and whatnot. Trump's aware of the New World Order. He understands what's going on. He's a patriot. He's this, he's that. Okay. So if he is aware of all these different things, then to me, he's a total sellout going over to Saudi Arabia and giving them all that money. They're over there. They're decimating Yemen. They're behind Yemen. They're trained. They have a direct connection to the people that he's saying, kick them out, drive them out. Remember that the statements that he was making when he was in Saudi Arabia? Get rid of them, kick them out, get them out of there. So what is he saying? And then what does Jones say? He said, well, he's telling them. He went over there. He gives them all this money. And then he's telling them, kick them out. Don't have anything to do with them. How about just stand up there and say, hey, we know that the Saudi leadership here is behind, along with Israel, which he went to next, is behind, and of course NATO. It's a compilation of things, but we know the big players are. They're behind this group that's cutting people's heads off if that actually was happening. I don't believe that journalist or the other guy. I don't know. Maybe you have a different. It's irrelevant at this point to a certain extent. But I don't believe that they actually cut, that somebody would sit there and just freaking cut somebody's head. I mean, come on.
You know what I love? What I love about that, Shali?
I don't think
I told this story to somebody just the other night because they asked me to come on a show and they started talking about this beheading thing because of the Kathy Griffin deal and all that. And they were saying, this has been out there now for years and years. And I said, are you guys aware of the first time that one of these beheading videos kind of went viral on the internet? Do you know are you aware of the first viral beheading video, Shali?
I want to say that it was like a set that they had put together, or is that what you're referring to? That it was a fake thing, or? It
was absolutely fake. Who did it?
Yeah.
Robbie Martin and a couple of his friends did it in their garage. You know who Robbie Martin is?
That doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, you know who Abby Martin is?
Oh, yes, I do. I do know.
Okay, so Robbie Martin put out that very heavy agenda thing about the war in the Middle East deal and all that. Interesting guy. You can have mixed feelings about him, but one of the most fascinating things as far as I'm concerned is the fact that he's the first guy to put one of those out. And he did it, and it just traveled, and it was a hoax. An entire hoax fabricated by I forget if he was 17 or 19-year-old kid, okay, that decided to do this, and it worked real well. The FBI visited him and, told him that technically it wasn't illegal, but you know what? We're going to be watching you, okay? Which I find hysterical, and hey, give us an excuse. We'll put you under the federal prison that nobody ever heard of. You got to love that.
Did anybody say? Did we hear in the other than alternative media that it was fake, or did they just go with it? It seems like we just went with it.
To this day, has anybody really challenged it? It was kind of mentioned at one point after this thing went viral and traveled all around and horrified everybody. But what's funny to me is the outrage over really somebody who I don't even value as a comedian. I think she's absolutely abominable as a stand-up comedian, Kathy Griffin. Oh my God, how poor taste. Look at the programming that she's participating in. Look, see the legitimate backlash from businesses. Really, that is just Trump exerting his influence, because truthfully, if you're a person booking Kathy Griffin right now, you've got a sold out show, and you could probably double your ticket prices because of all the news she just made. There was no reason to clip her the way they did.
I think they did that.
And at the end of the day,
yeah.
Well, and at the end of the day, she's a comedian. She's a loudmouth comedian who really doesn't have much. She's not Bill Hicks. Okay, she's not Bill Hicks. She's not George Carlin. She's just a clown. So a clown did something on YouTube, and therefore this is what we need to get bent out of shape about. Let's not look at the individuals that are actually dying on a daily basis. Let's not look at the real body counts. Oh my God! And effigy of a United States president has been displayed publicly in an unkind manner. That's never happened before, has it, Shali?
No. It's
hysterical to me, the whole thing.
She knew from the very beginning exactly what this was going to do, because her career, along with CNN's ratings, obviously, are plummeting. She never was all that attractive. She's becoming less and less attractive, okay? Her stand-up was never any more than just, I'm talking like she was like a 13-year-old girl, and just talking like really, really fast, like kind of like, I speak fast too, so I don't want to call her a mental patient because she speaks fast. But
but if you sound like, okay, so when I go down to the shoe store and I go and you talk like that, that's a little different than you and I speaking quickly. We're from the Northeast. We're not going to speak slowly. All right. It's just that simple.
So she knew this from the beginning, man. There's just no doubt. She knew exactly what she was doing. Somebody said, you know what, if you really want to, you do this and then apologize. And then if there's any backlash, it was all scripted. You looked at, I was watching her when she was like, he broke me. Little Miss actress, Little Miss, there's no way that you're broke now. You are, because so many people hate Trump and there's such a need for this divide and conquer aura over this presidency, and pretty much just for a number of other agendas. She's exactly where she needs to be right now. Exactly where she.
Yeah, well, see, outside of her just being a general annoyance and not really having that much talent, she wasn't bothering me at all until she apologized. That's where it comes into the come on already. This is nothing more than another tool of distraction to keep us away from what's really happening. Over and over again, this is what we get, right? Tiger Woods, Kathy Griffin. Tiger Woods, by the way, that was kind of amusing when we got the video of it. And lo and behold, he's on prescription drugs. Again, I was betting Ambien, to be honest with you, Shali, when I heard the description. I was betting Ambien. Turns out Vicodin, and maybe a couple other things. But, I was betting Ambien. Remember that? The sleep aid that, people would go into a zombie-like state and go out and do stuff and not remember it, but still be awake. And
well, look at Chris Cornell. Ativan killed him.
Yeah,
and even Dr. Drew said, because of his history of being addiction and different things, he should never have been given Ativan. Now, people will say, did he take more than one? Did he take 3 of them? Who knows? But your drugs are poison. They're fucking killing people. And when are people going to say, when are they going to start taking responsibility for their? But with everything that goes on, with all the toxins and the chemicals, you've got people that get any number of vaccines throughout their lives. Who knows what's really causing this? Well, of course, they make up the bipolar. They make up all of these conditions. Maybe sometimes just feeling sad is what you need to do. Maybe just being sad is okay.
No, that's right, Shali. And you know what? Before we totally run out of time, if you don't mind, I just want to take a minute to say something about somebody that I considered to be a friend who used to be here on UCY, Liam Sheff. Because, with him departing as he did, this was somebody else who was victimized by, our wonderful medical industry, except this was dentistry. They got a hold of him. The toxins are many, and the toxic procedures and the disgusting things that are permissible to do to human beings and to drug them with are many. There are multiple weapons being trained on us all, from vaccines to dental procedures to the drugs that they tell you will cure or deal with your condition or treat you. And what they are is treating you to a sickly, dying day that will come a lot sooner than it needs to. So, and again, much respect to Liam Sheff. I miss you, man. What's that?
What happened to him?
He passed away.
All right. So he died. Wow.
Yeah, no, he was a host on this network.
Oh yeah, I know. I actually when I was on Blog Talk, I reached out to him, and I have an interview of he and I back from maybe 2012. Because he was talking about AIDS and different things like that. He was really kind of getting into some cutting edge stuff. What did he pass of?
I don't want to speak to the story entirely, but I'll tell you this, that, some weeks before he left this plane of existence, he was on my show talking about how, if it became too intolerable to continue living, that he would go out on his own terms. And you can take a look at, Liam Sheff, his work. I definitely advise people to do so. His work on AIDS was cutting edge. Official Stories was the name of one of his books, but also, the archives that I'm sure are still here on UCY.tv. Take a listen to him, whether you agreed with him or not. He was definitely a guy who was out there trying to do the healthy thing for anybody he touched. So it's just something I wanted to mention before we were done here, and I thought it was absolutely appropriate since I'm on UCY.tv, man. I just wanted to give my respect to somebody who isn't here anymore.
Same here. I did not know, and I did. Our paths did cross back in, I want to say 2012, where he spoke to me for like an hour about different health related issues. That's when I was in my embryonic stages of my just banter and drivel to help mankind, dribble to help mankind.
We've all done it.
And womankind. And so, I'm it sucks to have heard that, because, not only was he part of our network here, but he did so many good things, and, created awareness for. So thanks for letting me in on that. I did not know that happened.
Well, look, you can't keep track of everything. But it's just something I felt was absolutely appropriate. And to answer, I usually don't answer the chat room during shows, but we'll tell you, it was a dental procedure that apparently, caused some damage that couldn't be dealt with after that. And he tried a lot of different things. And, at the end of the day, again, just love and respect to him. That's all. That's all I'm saying. And look, I don't want to drag the whole thing down. Let's close it out with a little bit of an uplifter, Shali, because we're not all doomed and we're not all dead just yet. We have a chance to continue to fight. Okay. And that is what I know you're doing in your way. I love it, man. The only thing is, when I come on, you never pull out the guitar. You got to do that the next time I come on, because I want to just mute up and listen to you jam and make up your songs and all that, man. I love that stuff.
So I kind of did that, and also I think was it Greg Allman died within the last couple of weeks. So that was not an Allman Brothers song in the beginning. It was it's kind of reminiscent of one of their songs, but it was more of a backing track that was kind of like an Allman Brothers song. So I did kind of jam. So you did hear that, right?
No, actually I had everything muted out, but he was buried at Rose Hill Cemetery in Macon, Georgia, just a day or two two ago. And, interesting guy right next to his brother. He's buried, actually. Couple of miles from where I'm sitting. So there you go.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely going to play. I usually, last week, I want to say I did like an hour. I opened up like an hour of just kind of breaking stuff down and talking. And then for like the last hour, I just kind of like, turn the mic down, and then I just kind of like jam. So last week's show has some of my playing in there. I definitely want to do some more, comic or comedy style songs that kind of goof on, I'll goof on Trump. I mean, I realize who he is, and it's sad to me that most people don't realize that he's just another appointee to a part of blood, part of the blood related to Hillary. And so here he is, and it's not all that unbelievable that he's there. I think he was totally groomed, the whole thing, the reality television show, destroy, have a economy that sucks, and then bring a businessman in. I didn't really fall for it. I was just like, I wanted to see her lose. Now I'm like, all right, I'll give this guy a chance to make a fool out of himself or be stupid and, covfefe, whatever the fuck that was. It got a lot of people talking, you know what I mean? It's amazing. It was like the Pavlovian response, like, what does that mean? What is that? What did he misspell that? And then what did they do? Spend like 2 days trying to figure out what the fuck that was? It's insane.
No, I love that one because he meant to type coverage and just, didn't do it right because he was half asleep. The guy's exhausted, man. Even being on a continuous PR campaign for 100 and some odd days where he's out there going to rallies and making his intense speeches where, it looks like, I don't know if he's going to survive the stress level, forget the investigations at some point, because I don't think he realized that, you're on 24 hours a day when you're the alleged POTUS.
It's fascinating that he's 70 and, if you watch him just kind of like maneuver like through the whole 2 fucking years of him just, crooked Hillary, this, that, and other thing. He really is. It seems like he has the energy and just the stamina of a younger man.
But it's wearing thin now, I think.
I mean, look at Obama. When Obama got in there, he didn't have any gray hair. Lies and deception and knowing that you're fucking killing children, that you back it or you've called for it or you're following orders for people that are baby killers. Shame on you. Shame on you. And all the gray hair shows that, Obama, you are despicable. And, Trump's going to be despicable too at the end of this, whether if somebody, as much as he's hated and as much as Jones is saying, oh, they're going to try and kill him. It's like, if something doesn't happen to him in the first year or so, or whatever, it's even more apparent that he was chosen to be there. And, and Jones has just, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. It's hard to find, I listen to it just more for like entertainment, just to like, what's this jackass talking about today? Or, if he has like Paul Craig Roberts or something on there, some people that I legitimately want to hear, but I guess I could find any Paul Craig Roberts interviews anywhere, because he's doing them all the time. I could find him anywhere. So, but I pretty much kind of steered clear of the info war because.
So maybe if I go get Paul Craig Roberts on, you'll listen to my show instead of his, and because I haven't had him yet.
He's tough. I reached out to him one time, and it was like, who? No, who's this? But no, I've he seems like a pretty fascinating guy who was involved in the whole thing, so he's got good opinions. But yeah, dude, absolutely. And so, explain more about you're doing your streaming audio directly from your internet setup. Is that what my understanding is?
Well, what the deal is that Ochelli.com, OCHELLI.com, is its own freestanding media hub. Some networks are going to carry the show live. Some will replay it, but there's going to be a bunch of networks that are coming together. In only like 12 hours, I've gotten, some inquiries about it, and I already know there's going to be at least 3 that'll simultaneously be broadcasting. So, this is just a new phase, and I'm looking forward to doing it, and I think it's the right direction to go in. Plus, I'm going to try and see if I can get some other people to start doing that as well, because I think that the more strength we have, the more legitimacy we have as individuals out there trying to broadcast this stuff, trying to get at the truth, exploring these different issues, and really breaking down what's actually happening for people. I think that is the goal here. So, but hey, look, you guys who like to harass me in the chat room, there's a chat room over there too, so you can do it there if you like. And that's the way it's going to go, man. I really appreciate you having me on today, and I always have fun talking to you. It's a little bit of therapy for me because I can get a few things out of my system, and I do appreciate it. And 5 nights a week, by the way, 5 nights a week. I'm still doing it 5 nights a week.
Okay, and then you're still doing the roundtable. I know that I was off that Friday when we were communicating before, and then some stuff happened or something, and I was thinking, oh yeah, I'll be on. I'll get on Chuck's show. He's probably doing like a roundtable or something, and then just because it was the holiday week and a bunch of stuff happened, so I just kind of got lost in the sauce. But yeah, I mean, like I'm around, so just let me know. Now I know that I've heard some of these other ones. Like I know this the Celtic Rebel that Alex, he used to be on Oracle, and then he created his own. Like it's like 24 hours a day where he just kind of plays music, and it'll go out through his through this particular internet website. But then again, all he has to do is turn that music off, and then he can start doing a live broadcast. So is it live all the time, or like?
Yeah, all the time. What's happening is right now it's just playing archive shows of mine. But I'm going to add a couple of other broadcasters to it, and there's going to be some other shows on there, some people that really don't fit in on other networks that are out there doing the good work. And so 24 hours a day that stream will be available, but the live shows will be 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Okay, that's my live shows 5 days a week, and like I said, others are to be announced. And I'm going to continue to do exactly what I've been doing for the past few years. And see if we can keep improving on the formula best I can. I know I'm not the greatest or anything, but I'm trying to get the greatest and best information I can, the best guests I can, and every once in a while learn something along with the audience as well. And it's really been a lot of fun. Even I'm hoping to get Clint Richardson back on. Some of the other great people over here at UCY, including Lonnie Clark. Libby Halebe has been on my show. I mean, geez, JJ, of course, I don't know if he's still around. I don't think he's doing a show right now, but I just love having him on because of it. Look, attitude alone, he's worth the price of admission. And I've invited Jules several times, by the way, to come on. She just never has time in the evening for my show. I'm able to occasionally book, big name people, but Jules is kind of out of my reach. So, eventually, I'll get to a point where I can get Jules on the show, and there you go.
Nice. It's all sounds very exciting, man. And again, you do a great job. You've done so many very, very good things. I'm talking like Trump now. You've done some very good things. You've had a lot of really great people on. You've had what was it, Maxwell? What am I thinking? The guy, the old guy, Jordan Maxwell. You had him on. You had the guy talking about the fire pits, like the same week that the big story came out, and I was like, dude, you got that guy on that fast? And he was like, yeah, I got him on that fast. So you do a really good job getting, getting people and reaching out and getting them on. So it's very cool. I'm more drivel and banter, and I hopefully somebody will say, well, I thought about crying that one day, and then I heard Shali play guitar, and he was talking about Hillary drinking blood, and I just like laughed or something,
I listen, man. I love what you do. I really always have, and always appreciate. You were one of the shows I used to really love to listen to on here, and I still do now and then. I just kind of drop in and listen to what's going on. I mean, you come up during interviews sometimes, like when I have Payday on, of course, every single time. I mention you when I have Payday on the show, Payday Monsanto, guys like that. It's just, it's great, man. And I appreciate you actually still being my friend, regardless of what I've said, done, or what hate I've attracted. I appreciate you, man. I want you to know that.
No judgment. You're a good guy. You've done a lot. You're sincere. You're not a fake guy. You may say some things that are controversial. Not everybody's going to be happy with the things that not everybody's happy. I say stuff when at work. I work with a lot of people, and I say some things that are unpopular. And then I say, well, do you want to see the information that proves, and then they're just like, no, I just decided that you don't know what you're talking about or something, right? And so then they just go with that. But on some level, people will still respect you for saying just saying and speaking your mind. And nothing you've said has ever offended me. And nothing at this point, I don't think anything really could, because we're just so far. So everything's so insane. But I look forward to, hanging out with you on this new platform. I'm going to check it out. And I'm going to message you this week, and we should talk about what we can do. Maybe I'll join. Maybe I'll start doing once a week or something over there on I don't know, from like a 7 to 8 or a 10 to 11 or something like that, or I don't know.
Plus, I would love to just play like some of your music or something, man. I've got 24 hours to program, and I don't want people to just listen to my voice all day long. So, music I would love to get from you. Anything you want to contribute, my brother, I would be most appreciative. And and absolutely, once again, big ups and my gratitude to UCY.TV, because once again, this is the first place where I went live and gave me the confidence to continue forward, and I'm just real happy to have started in a place that let me be who I am. So appreciate that, and I appreciate you. So there awesome. You go.
All right, buddy. I will reach out to you this week, and we will get some compilations together, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely, my brother.
All right. Have a great rest of your day.
You too, man.
All right. So, yep, there it is. There's today's program. Thanks to Chuck for stopping in, giving us information on his on the new platform. We're gonna do some things. I'm definitely gonna connect with him, and we're gonna make some happy fun time. So thanks for tuning in today. And we will Rock the Boat is next, and Hal and Clint's Archive and all the fine programming here on UCY.TV.
There is only one holistic system of systems.
I will MK Ultra ya, put the MK scope on ya. If the MK hits you, it's guaranteed to open ya. The 57mm Mark 110, 220 rounds a minute, try to stop them. Don't put that on your wish list, that's retarded babble. Protesters make the hit list soon as they start to rabble. They are nothing but fishes in the barrel. It doesn't have to be Christmas for a carol. Some decorate with ornamental decorum, some perform shock and awe on Hanukkah and Purim. That's where my job come in. I am a blessing to the mercenary for the corporation selling weapons to them. Any potential competitor step into them. I'm authorized to knock them out and stick a GPS into them. They want to sell uranium to Iran that's enriched. That's a bitch. Now we gotta teach you lessons.
This is Ozzy Skateboard.